How do you improve your deep sleep? If you're sick and tired of feeling tired all the time, then this video is for you. I'm here to answer that question, plus give you proven strategies to have you sleeping like a baby in no time. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Shockley, Doctor of Cause Chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine, and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, we're going to be going over the many health hazards of insufficient sleep. Believe it or not, it actually does shorten your lifespan. Then we'll cover the 7 ways to optimize your sleep sanctuary. Just the sound of that sounds relaxing. And finally, I will be sharing with you 12 tips for getting into bed and easing into sleep. If you do nothing else but implement these tips, you will be well on your way to deeper levels of sleep in no time. Let's get started. What are the health hazards of insufficient sleep? Believe it or not, there are many of them. Quite honestly, lack of sleep is one of the best ways to go down a path that leads you to the dwindling spiral of health or lack thereof. One of the first things you could experience as a result of not getting enough sleep is issues with your memory and just overall brain function. They have said that even one night of bad sleep or no sleep is the equivalent of functioning as if you were drunk. Also, not being able to focus or concentrate or just think clearly, that brain fog, those could be a result of insufficient sleep. Anybody ever feel a little irritable when you haven't slept well? It's because your mood is not going to be able to be balanced or stabilized if you're not getting enough sleep. Immune system totally goes down the tubes when you're not sleeping sufficiently. Specifically, lack of sleep actually weakens the immune's defense to viruses, which opens up the door for more of your common colds. Something else that's more common if you're sleeping less than 5 solid hours of sleep at night is you could see an increase in your blood pressure. Risk for diabetes elevates because of different hormone regulation and balance that happens. Weight gain is probably one of the most frustrating ones for many people. Even if you are somebody who eats right and you exercise through the day, if you're not sleeping at night, you may find that you still have this little poof of a belly that you can't get rid of. It could be purely because you're not getting enough sleep, which again alters lots of different hormone balance within the system and a multitude of other issues. You're also definitely more at risk for accident because your reaction time and then again just staying focused really decreases. So you could end up with a potential accident if you're not sleeping more regularly, which who knows what you can end up as a result of a health issue at that. You also could be experiencing that you're just not as interested in being intimate with your loved one. Very much so can result from not getting enough sleep. And one of the other ones that I wanted to share with you is the risk for heart disease definitely increases when you're not getting enough sleep at night. So I'm curious, besides it being something that can shorten your life, did you have any idea that all these different types of health issues that really kind of cover all of the systems in your body could result from not getting enough sleep at night? Let me know your response, your thoughts down in the comments below. I always love when you engage with me, so I can't wait to see what you have to say. All right, it's time to jump into 7 ways to optimize your sleep sanctuary. And we need to talk about that first and foremost, right? Where you sleep at night really should be viewed as your sanctuary. It's best not to be working in there. It's best not to eat in there, pets on your bed, all the things that it should be for loving and for sleeping. Okay. So I'm going to share with you ways to improve how this environment looks that set you up for a much more successful and deeper level of sleep each night. The first one has to do with your pillows. And I am a chiropractor, so this is something I talk about with my patients all the time. And no, I don't have one particular brand to recommend you because we all look differently. And how we sleep is different, compared from one person to the next. The key is you want a pillow that is soothing and supportive to your head and neck, but it's not cranking your head into any one particular position. Okay. So if you sleep on your back, you want something that's going to just give a little bit of support to your neck, but allow your head to kind of fall back towards the bed. If you're a side sleeper, then you need something that fills this space, right? It shouldn't be too squishy that your head falls towards your bed. Likewise, it shouldn't be too firm or too big that it's pushing your head away from the bed. You want to keep your neck nice and neutral. Okay, so figuring out what that looks like can be a little bit of a daunting process. But if you're looking for deeper levels of sleep, of course we need to be comfortable. One tip too, if you find that you're waking up in pain, whether it's neck or back or what have you, and if your bed is starting to be a little on the older side, chances are you might need a new bed. So explore these other options first, because that's not a cheap investment. But if nothing is working and your bed is aging compared to like what the lifespan was supposed to be, might be time to start exploring a new bed for you. The number 2 way to improve your sleep sanctuary is that your room technically should be a little on the cool side. What we found is that temperatures between 62 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit is actually ideal for sleeping. Part of what it does is it kind of puts your body into more of like a hibernative state. So if your room is too cold, then of course you're going to wake up shivering because your body's trying to keep itself somewhat warm. But on the opposite side, if it's too warm, then you're also not going to be able to get where your body temperature lowers a little bit, which is your natural sleep state. So play around, figure out what works best for you, anywhere between 62 and 72 degrees Fahrenheit. The third way to optimize your sleep sanctuary is to have a completely dark room. Light interferes with our body's ability to produce melatonin, which is one of the hormones that helps us go to bed at night. So it is something that can also be disruptive for helping us stay asleep at night. If you have a street light outside that can come in through the blinds, getting blackout curtains could be really advantageous. And something interesting about TVs is they always seem to have some weird like glow or hue, or they've got different lights on them that even when they're turned off, they actually are emitting light. Those can disrupt your sleep. If you're using an actual alarm clock, that can, or if you use your phone, if you don't have it in airplane mode, or at least where notifications aren't coming in every time you get a notification, if your phone is facing upright, you get a glow all of a sudden, right? So really trying to eliminate anything that is constantly producing some form of light would be helpful for you. Turn your phone face down so you don't see anything, and turn the notifications off, because electromagnetic frequency is something else that can disrupt your ability to sleep at night too. Number 4 is sleeping in a quiet space. Now, I know there's some of us who are like, I can't sleep if it's completely quiet, because then any little insignificant noise outside you hear and it wakes you up. That's okay, but when you condition yourself to always needing some background like white noise, it makes it difficult for like when you travel and you don't have that same kind of white noise. So the ideal is just sleeping in a completely quiet space. But again, like I said, if there are disruptions that happen because of where you live, maybe a train goes by through the middle of the night pretty frequently, or you can hear road noise, or you're in an apartment and neighbors are noisy, then having some low level of just constant background white noise is something that can be helpful. Otherwise, try to get it completely quiet so that you don't have those disruptions in the middle of the night. Tip number 5 is having some way that air can circulate in your room. If you sleep with your door shut and there's no sort of a fan that is moving air through, it can get kind of stuffy and stagnant. Now, this is not something that needs to be blowing directly on you. In fact, I wouldn't have it necessarily blow directly on you. So even a fan that's kind of pointing towards the wall can be really helpful, especially if it's quiet, or if it produces the type of white noise that you need, then you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Another option for this is, again, assuming you're not going to be interfered with light-wise or noise-wise, you can always have the window be somewhat open so you get the fresh air that comes in at night as well. Number 6, believe it or not, is aesthetics. Very fascinating how some of our brains work, but having a clean and just organized, nice appearing room, it just kind of allows you to enter into a more peaceful, relaxing sanctuary space as well. They have shown that making your bed in the morning, or at least sometime before you're going to slip back into it at night, actually does have a calming, soothing, relaxing feel about it. Now, whether it's just the tricks that our mind is playing on us is fine. Like, there's no harm that comes from that. We make our beds every single morning. And I can tell you, I feel better when I slip into my bed when it's been made compared to, if real rare occurrence, I slip into a bed that hasn't been made. It does, in my brain, have a different sense of feel. Making sure it's neat and tidy, so doing what Mom said, clean your room. It's your sanctuary. You're taking care of that space. Your brain isn't going to pick up on like, I've got this stack of papers over here that needs to have something done with it. it. So getting rid of anything that your brain could latch onto of like, these are to-dos is also really helpful. And then number 7 would be turning off your devices. Now, I mentioned EMF briefly. It's that, but then it's also like, just again, room for constant disruptions. And when I talk about devices too, I mean, who doesn't have a watch now that tracks your ability to sleep at night and everything else about your day, your blood pressure, your heart rate, how active you were, how many steps you were taking? I personally do not sleep with my watch on. I turn it off at night because it's still tracking and emitting. And if it was connected to my phone and I forgot to turn notifications off, it buzzes every time something happens. It is very disruptive. Now, if you're curious about what your sleep pattern actually looks like, fine, maybe wear it for 3 nights and have a good baseline. Then take it off, okay? We weren't meant to sleep with technology all around us. It is really disruptive to our body. Our body constantly is interacting with it, and there's all kinds of different aspects of health that just need to be able to do their thing and not have to deal with Wi-Fi and EMF and whatever else, okay? So track it, put it off, wait a few weeks, implement these strategies, recheck it and see if you can notice any improvement. If it doesn't look the way that you're expecting it to, though, it might just be that sleeping with it on is disruptive, okay? So turn off your devices. In fact, you also want to get unplugged from your devices earlier too, because it's too stimulating to your brain. So those are the 7 ways to optimize your sleep sanctuary. Now, before I get into 12 tips to help you prepare for bed and ease into sleep, I just want to give you a friendly reminder. Click that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and give me a big thumbs up if you're enjoying today's video. That way, you never miss out on a future episode. I am regularly sharing information on how to improve your brain health, gut health, your immune system, everything to help you be able to take back control of your health and achieve what I like to call total body mastery. So click the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and give me a big thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you. What are my 12 tips for helping you prepare for bed and ease into sleep? Well, let's jump right on in. One of the first tips is probably a bit obvious, but it still needs to be stated, is to avoid your caffeine, nicotine, any kind of stimulant, because it is not going to help you sleep very well at night, is it? So if you know you are somebody who needs that, make sure that it's at the very beginning of the day so the body has enough time to process things back out, that it is not a potential for interfering with your ability to fall asleep at night. Tip number 2 would be taking all the 7 things that I just shared with you and creating that sleep sanctuary. Like I said, if it's a sleep sanctuary, it's going to just feel more soothing and relaxing to even enter into it, and will help create the environment for you to have a deeper level of sleep. Number 3 is establishing a soothing pre-bedtime routine. We used to always do routines with our kids, but as we become adults, I guess we just let them completely go by the wayside. We as a species is actually a creature of routines and habits. So it has been shown in studies that if we do the same thing every single night before we go to bed, it's the same way of the sleep routine that we would do with our kids. It starts to tell the body like, oh, we're doing all these things again. That means that sleep's coming. So it starts to shift what your body's doing and helps prepare the body for sleep. Normally that last half hour before you go to bed is the ideal time to have your classic sleep routine and have it be the same every single day. So again, it triggers the brain and goes, oh, sleep time's coming. I need to start winding down. Number 4 is to actually go to bed when you're tired. Now, this can be a little difficult and may not work right away in the beginning, but eventually, if we try to go to bed when we're not really tired, we're not going to be very successful. We can be frustrated, and then that can also keep you up longer than what you would have otherwise if you just went to bed when you were actually tired. Number 5 would be don't watch the clock at night. Now, if you do toss and turn, the worst thing for you to do is to look at your phone and see what time it is. Any element of white can interfere with your ability to fall back asleep. And then we also do these fun mind games of like, oh, I only have 4 more hours and then I have to get up. Okay, should be able to go back to sleep. Oh, there's only an hour before I have to get up, and your brain's just going to stay on at that point in time. So by all means, try to have self-control. Do not look at what the time is. Don't make yourself, have any bright light in your face that's going to wake up the brain. Try to just roll over and go back to sleep. Number 6 would be to use light in your advantage. So one of the best ways to help you wake up in the morning, assuming you wake up when the sun is up, is to expose yourself to sunlight. So open up your curtains, allow the nice sunlight in. Now, we are starting to get to the shorter days of the year. So when natural light isn't available to us, or if we just wake up generally before the sun does, turn on lights. That light is signaling to the brain like, okay, it's time to be awake, and different hormones start to happen, or a decrease of production of like your melatonin and that, which helps keep you asleep. It helps actually wake you up and allow your brain to know, oh, it's daytime. We need to actually be awake and alert now. You have something known as your internal clock, and keeping it on a consistent sleep schedule is going to help you immensely. So once you figure out what time you need to go to bed, or maybe you have to do this in reverse, maybe you need to know what time you have to be up in the morning, and then making sure that you wake up at the same time every single morning, even on your days off, is what this is suggesting, okay? Have that be when you wake up. And then count backwards by hour-and-a-half increments to figure out when would be more your sweet spot for falling asleep, striving to get somewhere between like 7 to 8 hours, okay? Obviously that doesn't work in hour-and-a-half increments, but be somewhere close, okay? If you do it that way, it gives you more ability to fall asleep in the time frame that then when you're waking up, you're not in the depth of sleep. Okay, if you wake up when you're getting ready to come out of a sleep cycle, which a sleep cycle is about an hour and a half long, then you won't be in such a deep sleep. It'll be easier to wake up. And then that's your routine. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every single night, even on your days off, because that, again, is keeping that routine that's there. It's priming your internal clock, and it will help you be more successful. Number 8, if you're gonna nap, do it early or don't do it at all. Because if we do even more than a 15, 20-minute nap, it can start affecting, are we able to fall asleep at night? If we've already logged enough hours, then we're not going to catch up on night. So power naps are key. Don't do anything beyond a power nap, and try to make the power nap be in the first part of the day versus the last part of the day if you're going to use them at all. Number 9 would be to lighten up on your evening meals. They say to, I forget the actual phrases, but eat like a king first thing in the morning, eat like a peasant at night. Having your body have to really work at digesting heavy meals or large amounts of food at night is something that can be very disruptive to your sleep. So eat lighter, do intermittent fasting on the opposite end of the day compared to what a lot of people are. So have your last meal be at like 4 in the evening versus 6, 7, 8 at night. That'll be really helpful too. And then just, like I said, make it be smaller. Eat bigger at the first part of the day, eat smaller towards the end of the day. Number 10 is to balance your fluid intake. Obviously, we need to drink sufficient amounts of water in order for us to be hydrated, but we don't need to do that right up until we go to bed so that then we have to empty our bladder before we would actually wake up. Front load your day with your water. Okay, your body doesn't care when you get it in. So front load the day with more water. That way your body has the ability to catch up with how much you've consumed for the elimination side as well. Number 11 would be to exercise earlier in the day. Now, I know not everybody fits into this. There's some people who can exercise like my brother right before he goes to bed and seems to go to bed without any issues. I can't do that. So for me, partly just because of time management and how my schedule is, if I'm going to work out, it's got to be first thing in the morning before the rest of life happens. But we have found if you exercise at least before that 3 p.m. kind of time frame in the day, your body can calm back down from being charged from doing the exercise so that it doesn't interfere with your ability to actually fall asleep at night. And then number 12 is just simply follow through. If doing all of these is overwhelming, pick a couple and implement them and keep them consistent. You will find it's through the consistency that you will start experiencing deeper levels of sleep. Now, if you want to take this whole process and amplify it, then I have something for you down in the description below. So simply click on the description that's below this video so it expands. There is a 7-day full body reset meal plan that's waiting for you. How we eat, what we eat, absolutely impacts our ability to sleep at night. So if you want to see the secret behind really putting this process, on steroids, healthy steroids, then you'll want to figure out how should I eat to help me be able to sleep better at night. So find that link down below, click on it, tell me where to send it, and it will be yours. Here is to more restful, deeper nights of sleep for you, and I can't wait to see you on a future episode. God bless.